Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sunday, September 28th. It's a little after 4 o'clock the evening. It's been a nice warm day here in the Midwest, about 85 degrees. It's starting to cool down, especially if you're lucky enough to be able to relax in the shade. Uh, what I want to talk about really quickly is this morning there was the interview between John Thune and Kristen Welker. And, you know, mainstream media's got to do better. Because John Thune said some things that were just, they simply don't work. He basically said 2 plus 2 equals 5, and Kristen Welker just let it happen. So, sorry, mainstream media, you gotta do better. You gotta actually fight for the people. And I know that's tough in this situation, especially when corporate media is being bought up by all the rich people, like CBS being bought up by Larry Ellison. I get it. But here's the thing. He said that what we're going to do is we're going to take tariff money and we're going to bail out the farmers because of the tariff money. And, to a certain extent, I don't have a problem with that as long as we start looking at a different future, because we've got to stop lying to the American farmer. The American Soybean Association and these people who want to just be dishonest. Tell the American farmer the truth and they can learn and deal with it. They need a new plan. The old plan isn't working anymore. So during the first Trump administration, we put tariffs on China. Good or bad, doesn't matter. We did it. China's response was to move agricultural to Brazil. They invested billions of dollars in the ports in Brazil and in the railway system. And Brazil went from producing about 90 million acres of soybeans to 130 million acres of soybeans this year. So, you American farmers that think that there is going to be a market for your soybeans are being lied to. Especially when you're going to cut biodiesel subsidies and things like that, and the government's going to stop buying your products to send to impoverished areas around the world. So, your markets are gone. And you shouldn't be bailed out for producing goods for China. If you're producing something for the United States, for the American consumer, great. That's a good thing. So what needs to be done is these people like John Thune need to stop being dishonest. Tell the American farmer the truth. They can handle it. You started a second trade war without ever bothering to tell the people that they needed to be prepared, they needed to plan, and they needed to understand their market was going to go away. You did it, it's done, but now be honest with them. Instead of lying about, the tariffs will go ahead and provide the bailout for the farmers that didn't know any better. Well, they did know any better. They did, or they should have. But that doesn't even matter. None of that matters. What are we going to do about the future? Okay? And that's the real issue. What are we going to do about the future? And if we keep lying to everybody and saying, soybeans will magically come back because China will magically buy from us, even though we just gave money to Argentina to help Argentina become a better supplier to China, which means, we're not going to have the soybean purchases back. And we're going to lose other areas of products too, because we're in a trade war with China. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent, doesn't matter. What's your opinion on it? We are in it. So, for John Thune to get out there and say these things, he needs to look at his constituents in South Dakota and he needs to tell them the truth. These big ag processing of soybeans, we don't need that many soybeans anymore. We could probably cut our soybean harvest down next year by about 25 to 30%. Otherwise, we're going to continue to produce more soybeans than we need, and we're going to keep giving money to farmers to just let their soybeans rot. And that's not fair for the farmer, because they deserve to actually be paid well for the products in which they produce. It's not fair to the American consumer, because they shouldn't be paying to have stuff thrown in a trash can. Well, that's just my opinion. And again, it's a nice, sunny Sunday afternoon, September 28th. And, I hope everybody's having a good day. But again, we got to come together and we got to do better. And that means that these people who are going to lie to us, we need to turn them off immediately. You know, 1, 2 strikes of absolute dishonesty, looking at me and telling me something like that, you're done. And these big organizations like the American soybean or the American corn, they need to be gone too.